Baker's getting tired and in came Sweet Liaison to take.
Done our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.
Hello and welcome to another week of odds. We are 7 weeks down, heading into week 8. Last week was so good. Winning on both the racing and the AFL. So the racing was spearheaded by a bonus bet on Secret Plan, which got at fixed odds of $26 on Friday. However, on the Saturday it drifted to 41 and 46. So we didn't get the super lucrative odds, but even at that 26, it was fantastic. So tough, led all the way. It was a big leaders track in Sydney, so plenty of horses did that. But it was great to see a horse that's deserved to win for a long time get it. Apart from that, there wasn't a whole lot of success. So going down the order, Detroit City was good in race 1 at Melbourne. That was a good winner. Pieris did too much work early and knocked up. Berkshire Breeze, the bubble burst there, ran second. Bel Riche was good running fourth, but didn't get bonus bets back. Midtown Boss and Voici Caro both flopped in that straight race. The Big Shamrock wasn't anywhere to be seen. And then carrying on from there, it wasn't really a lot of success. What a Deal didn't do any good. The Astrologist was a close-up fourth. Zerastro was leading right till almost the end. Right to Party got him, but that was a good solid run. British Columbia battled away on the fence, probably not the best going, but it wasn't really in it. Tajanis was a good fourth at odds. Greenfly didn't feature. Really mixes its form, Greenfly. It can look really great one week and then it can just sort of disappear the next. So we'll keep that in mind for the future and for the spring. Holy Mans didn't do anything. Shopping Esprit didn't do anything. Testator Solens in Sydney was good, held on for third. More Secrets nowhere to be seen, but we did get a bonus bet back for that. Secret Plan, as mentioned, fantastic, just winning and getting us up $87.50. Noble Soldier, nowhere to be seen. And then in Brisbane, it was no good. Khaleesi, down the track. Nana Guy didn't run on. And there was one more. Trey Redu. So overall return of $102.64 for a $50 outlay. So $52.64 of profit. And then on the football, it was a good streamlined week, spearheaded by Collingwood, who delivered on what they owed. Not really what they owed, but they did it for Pendlebury as I hoped and as a lot of people probably expected. And that was great. So $2.45. Geelong, it looked really dicey. For a second, it was just the best sort of that was going to be hoped for was the bonus bets back when they were headed, but fought back to win at $1.34. So that was good. And then Essendon, at 3/4 time, I'd given up hope. I thought it was over. I thought the margin was in jeopardy. But what we were hoping for, that all those weeks of unexpected losses and downturns, finally just backs against the wall, whatever it was, they came out and played a fantastic quarter. Importantly, won the game for all of the Essendon supporters out there, including myself. As a bonus, we covered the line. We got $89.95 back at odds of $4.49, rounded up to $4.50. So profit of $69.95. So overall, it was about $120 profit for the week, which is the biggest so far in the short-lived odds season heading into spring. So now we are really firing. We are looking at around about 500 back odds just on the races for a $350 outlay. So around about 150 up. And then we're also looking at the AFL. We were down about 50 overall, and now we're up about 20. So things are looking very good, which is really heartwarming. And we've got $7.50 in bonus bets, which can make a difference this week. So that's the wrap. That's where we are. We've got Moonee Valley tomorrow, which I'm great to see the races back there. It's usually a pretty simple proposition. The leaders are favoured. You want to try them early. Sometimes it is a run on track. If you find that out, great, you can switch track. But generally, it's basically leaders and on pace. So that's what I go in every time expecting. Let's see how it goes. This week's going to be very Melbourne dominated. Just going to look at one race in Sydney. Predictably, it's race 8 because of the promotion. Bonus bets back second to last. So almost all the money at Moonee Valley. One bet at Sydney. Hopefully in the coming weeks, it'll be a bit more spread out. But this week, it is what it is. So let's just ride the wave and continue on. So let's get into it. All right, so starting with Moonee Valley Race 1, we're coming in with a 43% winning return rate on the races, a 14% winning return rate on the AFL. Overall, it's sitting at 35%. So, jumping into race 1 at Moonee Valley, Waimarie is the favourite at $3. It is hard to just keep on winning. It's a bit of a question mark on good ground. Mistress of Illusion is first up. It will be better over longer, but it has got good form coming in. Lavore will go up as well and pour on a bit of pace. It's one of those tricky race ones where you just don't know what's really going to happen. Pitcher None stands out because it's got such a good record at Moonee Valley and it's a prolific place getter rather than a winner. So this is the field. Based on that, I would have something each way on Waimarie for obvious reasons. Barrier 4, it should get a decent run and getting bonus bets back is good. And then a trifecta with Waimarie and Pitcher None. It should probably run a place. Hopefully those two can be up there. It'd be great if Pitcher None won. Waimarie will run second or third, maybe an outsider fills the other spot. So those two to Roving Bank with the field, I think makes the most sense. And then we can get an idea of how the track's playing as well and not invest too heavily on race 1. Okay, race 2 at Moonee Valley. This is a very competitive race. It's good for betting in the sense that you could find quite a few horses to get excited about, but there are a lot of them that have good form and they're probably going to fluctuate in the short term. Something that really grabbed my eye was the Chauvinist. When it won recently, the way that it held on, it had a lot in the tank. There was a wave of horses coming at it, but it held ground and was almost sort of kicking away. That just gave me a very good visual appeal. And it's good at Moonee Valley that's going to go forward and do that. The problem is that a lot of horses are going to pour on the pace with it. So I don't know how much it will have left in the tank if it's been pressured a bit too much. Zesty Man in its first prep won really well to start off with and then was up in grade really quickly. So coming into this prep, it's a big jump back down from the group class that it was in. So that could be value at 12s. Blue Stratum will go up and be one of those ones up there on the pace from barrier 3. You could make a case for any of Last Druid, Azazel, Immortal Star, Diamond Firetail, Just Like Gabby. They're all going to be, they've all got good enough form lines that you could get quite excited about them. Last start when Just Like Gabby came home, to me it wasn't anything super special that would mean it should be $5.50 here. I thought maybe it might be like 7 or 8, but I could be completely wrong and that might come out and win. I should mention Miss Cottaletta, great name. It's out of the veal thing, and they've called it Miss Cottaletta. So that is, I like to see when people are switched on and think up a good name. And then Jasmine Rouge as a first starter. Who knows? 40 to 1, 50 to 1, could be 60 to 1 tomorrow. Could offer up something, could be worth betting on for the place. So this is the field. What to do out of it? I'd like to be each way on the Chauvinist just because of what I saw last start. I think that is got a lot of upside. Bonus bets back, always great. And then a couple of trifectas Roving Bankers. So I think if the Chauvinist does run well, Zesty Man might get a good run from barrier 6, sort of in that 5th, 6th, 7th position and run on. Hopefully they'd run in the top 2 and then with the field to Rove, you might get something at bigger odds filling a placing. And then the other one I'd go totally opposite. I'd take 6 Immortal Star and 8 Just Like Gabby as Roving Bankers. On the assumption that there's too much pace, they run on really well, fill the placings. Again, field for third. Hopefully it's not the exact favourite, even though it's basically a very open race where they're all around about 5 or 6 or 8 or 9. So you are really hoping sort of for Miss Cottaletta or Jasmine Rouge to fill the other spot, but not many people will take Zesty Man given that sort of form line. So I'd do those 2 exotics and then just have something each way on the Chauvinist. All right, race 3 at Moonee Valley. This is a race I like. I'm not exactly sure it's great for betting, but it's a really good, interesting race. Commander Harry has been around the mark and sooner or later it's going to win at big odds. It doesn't win a lot though. It's only won 2 out of 21. So it probably won't be tomorrow, but it's a horse that I think it just pays to keep your eye on it. Eventually it's going to do something. Lincoln Rocks, the favourite, number 5, looks like a serious stayer. The way that it rounded up that field when it won 2 starts ago, and even last time, It's looked very impressive. And last time it didn't get, had to do a lot of chasing. And even though it sort of ran into third, it did a lot more, I think, than the regular horses in that race. So that, I think, has got a lot of upside for the future. But rounding up a field at Moonee Valley, especially if it's not a run on pattern, it's going to be difficult. Sort of made easier by the fact it's coming from barrier 16. It can just go straight back to last, but it's going to have some luck element in there. On the opposite side of the coin, I think that My Rockefeller is going to go forward, number 17 from barrier 10, and probably get a good run on the pace. So I'd be doing both of those each way, one with the tab, one with sports bet, so you can have two going for the bonus bets. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to tell. Vegas Knight's got a very good Moonee Valley record, so it's paying 26 on the tab and 35 on sports bet. Probably some value in there, especially for exotics. A lot of rock, that will also go up and lead. I don't think the form's that strong, so I can't see it staying there, but it could. Captain Electric's 480. I don't know about it. It's a bit of a question mark on the dry ground. And then there's a few others there, like Dublin Journal sort of tends to win at that 10-15 to 1 price point. Hard Squeeze has been consistent. It's hard to know. I'm going to stick with Lincoln Rocks and My Rockefeller. I also want to make a note of Flaming Romans, which appears to be a full brother to Smoking Romans, and they're both fantastically named out of Ghibellines and Inferno, and they're Smoking Romans and Flaming Romans. So fantastic work. $5. Kieran Maher trained, that will be definitely one to keep an eye on. But yes, going back to just those each way. And then a Quinella, Lincoln Rocks, My Rockefeller, Commander Harry at the odds, and Vegas Knight at the odds, just because it's a Moonee Valley specialist. All right, race 4 at Moonee Valley. We are flying through this meeting, which is good. So this race, no idea. All these form lines are so hard to line up. It's one of those staying races where it's just going to depend on who gets a good run. To me, Perfect Play has been really consistent. Barrier 2, it should go up. It should get a good run at Moonee Valley. It could kick away in the straight. You could sort of say the same for Dashing Duchess. And also, so there's 6 and 7. Number 8, Jinga's Prestige. It's been really good apart from the runs on heavy. And it's going to be dry tomorrow. And that could improve a lot. So I like those 3. The rest, it's also, so even like Through Irish Eyes. I mean, that hasn't really got the form, but like Desperado, Farrago have had wins, but it's hard to know if they're going to do it again. There's just too many. Pearl Rain, Fireglow 2, Brilliant Adventure, but like, it's just hard to know. Dictionary, I think the form that it's coming from, that's one of the ones that's more in the market at 10s. I wouldn't be taking it. I don't think the form's going to stack up that well. Woods, a couple of preps ago, that looked like a serious say that was going to go onto things. Gets out at $27 today and coming off 3 placed runs. There should be value there. And the same for Fats, although I do think Fats is more of a Flemington horse, but I would roll the dice here and see how it goes at Moonee Valley. So distilling that down, this is the field. What I would do is each one on Perfect Play, so you can get bonus bets back, and then a Quinella. Perfect Play, number 6, Dashing Duchess, number 7, number 8, Jinga's Prestige, number 16, Woods, and number 17, Fats. Box those in a Quinella, and then trifectas as necessary. But it's probably not a race I want to invest too much in, just because I don't know. All right, so race 5, very different proposition, very small field, and a lot of on-pace horses. So I really like Acromantula, number 1. I like any sort of Perth horses that come across with those really strong sprinting form lines. It's coming down in class. It's got a lot of weight, 60 kilos, but it is a really class horse in this. So I like that. I'm going to go each way. It is a big question mark on how much work it's going to have to do, because Mornington Glory could attack it. Scuderia from barrier 6 probably almost certainly will come across and try and fight for the lead. Keep Reading might do the same. From barrier 7, I feel like it'll be a bit disadvantaged if it goes up. Taunting's definitely a chance. I mean, they're all between $4 and $6, so by definition, they're all a chance. To me, it's hard to know, and especially in small fields like this, the smaller they are, in a way, the more volatile they are. There's nowhere to hide really, especially if you're the favourite. So for me, to be each way on Acromantula, And then a trifecta just as a counterpoint. Moonhaven probably is the one that isn't going to be in that speed battle and will stay back. And from barrier 5, especially with a 3 kilo claim, could go back and sweep over the top. So I would do a trifecta with Moonhaven to win, and just everything else for second and third, in case that scenario plays out. And then otherwise just each way and Acromantula. And it'll be interesting how Mornington Glory goes after being scratched last week, and just how they settle and how it goes. So that's race 5. Okay, so race 6 at Moonee Valley. Big field, difficult race. So Big Me, the former Hong Kong sprinter, is the favourite. From barrier 2, former first, third, spell third, looks very good. The question mark of how it's going to handle Moonee Valley. The 330 is probably some sort of either neutral or like slight value. Fission from barrier 13 will probably go back. Its form's been consistent, and from there it'll go back and probably get a good run and sort of sit in midfield and come over the top. So that is good, and I'm going to put that in a lot of Quinellas. There's just genuinely a lot of horses that could do something. So Celestial Storm, the form's been good. From barrier 5, will probably go back, sit 5th or 6th, come over the top. Machinist has been good in arguably better races. I Miss Margie at $16 is really good value. It hasn't really done much wrong. It's got had good form in that first prep. It's likes Moonee Valley. Also, our Cracklin Rosie had really good form previously. 40 to 1 seems over the odds. Problem is, you can make a case for so many, like Cavallo Ramponte. You could say a similar thing. Hulme, number 3, is going to go up and lead. That's an out and out leader. It's just a very big field, a lot of chances. Tis Enough will probably do the same from barrier 14, come across and try and lead. I'll try and stay away from too many of those horses that might be caught up in that speed battle. Powerbank's interesting, coming from country New South Wales runs and then brought to the city at 200 to 1. I love seeing stuff like this. It just makes the race day so much more interesting. So this is the field. I would have something on our Cracklin Rosie for the place. And then I would have something each way on I Miss Margie, because the value is too good. And then I'll do a Quinella, a big box Quinella. Fission, number 5. Celestial Storm, number 6. Machinist, number 8. 13, I Miss Margie. And 14, our Cracklin Rosie. They're all pretty long odds. It's assuming that Big Me is not going to come anywhere, but you could just as easily, for the money, for the bonus back, just do Big Me. It'd be a perfectly sensible play. I'm just because the field's big, I'm sort of more inclined to go for a little bit of better odds, and people maybe have forgotten a little bit about I Miss Margie. It's also got a weird name, which people don't sort of tend to gravitate to. But not for all the Margies out there. They'll be Margies, Margarets, they'll all be on board. So that's what I'll do there. But interesting race, and these big fields of the Valley do throw up good contests. So let's see. That's race 6. Okay, race 7 at Moonee Valley. Pretty interesting staying race. There's a few horses here that are definitely going to feature in the spring. Matthew's got some good staying form. I don't know if it's going to be that suited here at Moonee Valley. I think it might get a bit too far back. Alder had a good first up run, international form. That's the one I'd rather be on from barrier 5. I think that's a great each way bet. Point King, number 9. So these 3 are all stacked together. Point King, Alder, and Matthew. I'm going to discount Matthew. I'll have something each way on Alder. Point King, I like just as much, or if not more, because it gets dry ground that it wants, which it hasn't had, and it's $17 compared to Alder's $4.20. So I'm going to have one of our bonus bets from last week on Point King, and then just have something on it for the place out of actual cash, just to see how that goes. Other ones, Smoking Romans is here, is tough. It's going to go up with a 2 kilo claim, be up the front and lead for a long way. King Magnus, so consistent, good old timer, might be up there if grabbing a placing. Duke de Cesar, I think, wants Flemington. Interpretations, 2 runs back this prep haven't been much to write home about, but first prep was very good. If that returns to form, the $18 is value. The other ones, I think it just depends if they get a good run, but I can't make a case, especially for like Normandy Bridge or Too Close to Sun. I tried to bet on Too Close to Sun a few starts ago. It'd be cool when it does win and pay a lot, but not sure when it's going to happen. So yeah, this is the field. As mentioned, each way on Alder with cash. Point King, bonus bet for the win. cash place bet. And then some sort of Quinella for Smoke and Romans, King Magnus, Interpretation, Point King, Alder. That's 2, 3, 4, 9 and 10. All right, so race 8 at Moonee Valley. This is a great betting race. This is so many chances, so many interesting horses to bet on. Maximilian Caesar, I think it'll be better for that first up run at $16 and could really offer something tomorrow. So a bonus bet on that for the win. Regal Pom wasn't too bad last time. From barrier 16, he's going to go back. Could get a bit of a tricky run, but it's got that 3 kilo claim. It's something I want to have in Quinellas. There's a lot of horses with good recent form. Margie's Boys had wins on wet tracks. Regal Zeus is there at 6. I do like Angry Skies. I think that's building up to a win. Barrier 2, decent weight. Jamie Carr on board, $5.50. There's a lot to like. Spare Coin is a horse I like. I bet on it at Warrnambool during the carnival. I think it's going to win a lot throughout its career. Whether it wins tomorrow is a bit of a question mark, but paying 18, it's really good value if nothing else. Big Story, always love the name. I don't think I'm going to bet on it tomorrow because there's too many others in front of it, but gee, if that one had paid 40, I'd be pretty devastated. So it's probably worth having some sort of bonus bet on, but we'll see. Going down the order, like Our Empress Zoe has been good. Royal Hard Hat is well named, out of Helmet, and then it was like Regal Silver Royal something, but out of Helmet, Royal Hard Hat. I can see where they were going with that. Nice. There's a few outsiders down the order. Rackerman as well, number 9, you could sort of make a case for. So for me, it'd be like a bonus bet Maximilian Caesar for the win, something on it for the place out of cash. And then a Quinella 1, Maximilian Caesar, 2, Regal Pom, 5, Angry Skies, 6, Spare Coin. Maybe throw in Big Story as well. And then an each way bet on Spare Coin. Could have just as easily been Angry Skies, but I'd be more devastated if Spare Coin won, so I'm going to go for that. Okay, race 9 at Moonee Valley. A few interesting ones here. So he's our Bonneval. I've never seen this before in, I think, all of my time of reading form guides. Its last 8 runs have been over the same distance, 1,400 metres, give or take, whether it's 1,400 or 1,440, but I've never seen that. There's always fluctuation. 8 runs over the same, that's quite incredible. So he's our Bonneval. Ranting, I think it sort of gets the right grade tomorrow. It hasn't got a great barrier, but I feel like it's got a feeling that could be worthwhile. So I'll have something on Ranting each way. It's probably my sort of favoured pick in this. Why Worry's been good. It's got barrier 1, it's paying 10. That you could easily make a case for. Show Some Decorum, great form last prep, first up tomorrow, 3 kilo claim, it'll probably be up there and leading. That at $14 you can make a case for. Same for Home Rule, barrier 5, it's going to go up. Even like extra 2, Legio 10, like there's so many horses in this you can make a case for, which is what makes it difficult, and it also makes it great. Be or Bay, I was keen on last start, it didn't do anything, but I'm loath to just drop off of horses, so I'll have something each way on Be or Bay. Ranting, as mentioned. Wallender's probably the best credentialed horse in this. It's had so many good runs lately in those strong Flemington straight races. It is $4, and in a sense that's value. I just don't sort of like to hope that horses will repeat the sort of the same magic that they've had. So it's been running really well. I just don't know if it's going to come out and do exactly the same thing in a pretty tricky race. From barrier 2, it could get cluttered up there as well. So Ranting each way, Be or Bay each way, just to see if it does anything. And then some sort of Quinella with those ones at the top. So he's our Bonneval number 1, Ranting number 2, Why Worry number 3, Show Some Decorum number 4, and Home Rule number 6. I'll do a Quinella with those, and then I'll leave Be or Bay out of it. If that runs well, I'm happy with the each way. It doesn't have to be in the Quinella. I'd rather try some of those other ones because I just feel like there's value there. Bonneval could do something at 17s. Okay, going to the one race at Sydney, race 8, that I want to have a check out of. It's tricky. It's a slow 6. I don't know whether it's going to get upgraded or downgraded. Schwartz is a good favourite. It makes logical sense just to back that because it's going to go on to be a class horse. It's paying $2.35. It's sort of won the races that it should have won, and then it's struggled or just run decently in tougher grade. So it's still a pretty strong race tomorrow, and I don't know that it's just going to go out and win. It may, it also may not. So I'd rather go Lock Eagle. The form was very good previously. Then it ran in some real Group 1 races and finished down the track. But if it can come out and run well, it could be, it's 23 on Sportsbet, but it could be anywhere from sort of 27 to 30, especially on the tote. So it's had 2 trials. It hasn't won them, but it's sort of only been a few lengths off. So it gives me the impression that it's sort of reasonably fit and ready. So for me, 3 to win, Lock Eagle, and $1 to place in case it runs a placing. You could easily go Schwartz or, I mean, Arctic Glamour, yes. She's an A-lister, you could as well. I'd rather just go for something that's paying a bit more odds because it is a second to last promo. So if it runs last, it's fine. We'll still get the money back. So Lock Eagle each way, and I'm even going to stay away from exotics in this because I just don't know. Be interesting if Banju finished somewhere at 70 to 1, but that closes the racing out. Okay, so AFL for this round 22. Starting off with Sydney and Collingwood. This is more of a, it's been great to see Sydney tumble down the ladder. It had so much more intrigue to the season. And I never thought they were really going to stay up there. They were very good for a period, but we all know what happened in that grand final against Geelong, and I think the same thing will probably happen again. So I'd love to see Collingwood win. I just think that I'm using what I want part of my brain rather than the rational side that thinks that Sydney, with a few players back, will probably find a way to win because it's unlikely they're going to keep losing. So as much as I'd like to bet on Collingwood to win or to tip them, I'm just going to stay out of it and just, if they win, it's great for the ladder, it adds some spice, but I don't want to stack everything against a Sydney that have had their backs to the wall. So we'll leave that. We might do it as a margin bet, depending on how many other legs we can fill. Brisbane against the Giants. I've loved Brisbane's revival. It's great. I'm hoping that they finish a solid top 4 and go on and win the flag. The Giants have been good lately, and you can never discount teams that they pulled that game out of the fire last week, and that can just give such a psychological boost that it can never be overlooked. So it's easy to think, okay, they're going up to the Gabba, they're going to get rolled. I don't want to fall in that trap, so I'm just going to leave this game. Brisbane should win, but we'll see. The North one, at the start of the week, I was very, very keen to jump on North because they play Tassie well. I feel like they have been playing better than the wins that they've got out of it have suggested. However, West Coast have been good with Schofield as caretaker coach, and I feel like whether it's just for their own pride or it's that new coach feeling, or whether it's a farewell to Gaff, I feel like they're going to play well in these last few games, and I'm now starting to think that almost that $2.30 is good value for them. So I'm loath to tip against a North that have been in good form, but I'm almost considering tipping West Coast in this. It's sort of got to that point. So I think West Coast are a strong case, especially with a margin, especially with like a 30-point head start. I think that's gold because North might struggle to sort of put them away. Freo and the Cats. Don't know. The loss against Essendon could scar them. It's always brutal to lose a match that you're totally in control of, especially by a point. So it could play havoc in their minds. Geelong, they're without a few key people still. It is Jez's 250th. Don't know. Don't want to be involved. It's good for Essendon in the ladder because one of them has to lose, but don't know. Too dicey. Essendon Gold Coast. Now that they've got life in the season, I feel like they won't let this slip. That they'll just go to Marvel, do what needs to be done, get out. So $1.50, that will go in the multi. We all know that this has been Essendon have been a bogey team before, and the bias is real. But let's just suspend that for the moment. Melbourne Port. God, who knows? Melbourne's season's become irrelevant. Port are on this massive upswing. Anything could happen, depending on the weather as well. Rain would probably help Melbourne, though Port are a good wet weather team. Port will probably win, but I don't want to, The D's are just too fickle. I just don't know what they're going to dish up, so we'll leave that. Carlton Hawthorn, the ultimate toss of a coin. It's hard because Carlton have been playing good football. They've had a few tough losses. Hawthorn have been playing good football throughout. Even when they've had losses, they haven't really been rattled. The upswing sort of continued and continued. They did drop the game last week, which was great because I tipped GWS, but it just makes it so hard to know what's going to happen this time. Carlton really needs a win to shore up that spot in the 8, so the need is definitely there. Hawthorn are probably now realising that the finals aren't really going to happen, so psychologically that makes a big difference. I'll be tipping Carlton. They're probably valued at $1.84. They're probably excellent value, really, considering the football that they have played at times during the year. The best, when they were playing at their best and beating Geelong, they look good, and if they return to that, it could be amazing. So $1.84 is probably a bit of a gift, but with Curno's ankle and other things, Chera out again, we'll skip this one. Richmond St Kilda, it's just so obvious that it gives me that feeling of, no, I don't want to be involved, because what if Richmond somehow come out and play a good game, even though it's not like there's a dusty farewell game to play well for, but anything where it's just too obvious is always alarm bells. So again, we'll leave. I could just be getting way too superstitious about this now and just not wanting to lose, but yeah, that feeling can definitely take over. Adelaide Western Bulldogs. Adelaide were very good last week. The Dogs, the last time they played it in SA, they were beaten by about 70 or 80 points. So that was by Port, obviously, but I'm just low. They're just so up and down, the Dogs. So again, that's probably a leave. So distilling that down, it's going to be a pretty straightforward one of Essendon as a standalone. West Coast with a head start around about 30 points. I'll put it up on screen. And look, I'm a bit loath to do it, but Collingwood, I feel like they have to throw everything at this game. It is the season on the line, so even if they lose, they'll keep coming towards the end, and they'll cover some sort of 30-point margin. So Collingwood with a 30-point head start, around or about, it'll be up here. West Coast similar, and then Essendon to win. And we'll do 20 on that. Bonus bet back if we miss a leg, fantastic. We're up about 20 for the year, so if we lose this one, we'll be back to square even. Let's go for that. So that's the whole week. It feels very succinct. I like that whole list of bets. I think there's enough horses that I've backed there that are sort of favourite or so that we'll get a few bonus bets back. We'll get a few winners at that $3, $4, $5 mark. We'll probably jag something at longer odds, some sort of Quinella, and if we can just have like a week where we get around about 50 back and continue on, that's great. It's those blowout weeks where you lose 40 or 45 that we're trying to avoid. And it's not like it's a week where there's anything particularly at 20 to 1 or 30 to 1 where I think like, this is amazing, let's all jump on board. So let's just hope it's a week of sort of like staying around about where we are. We're in a great position. Adelaide 350, we've got 500 back. It'll be about sort of trying to stay there. We've got a few options for Quinellas and trifectas. Good luck for your betting. We're heading into Spring Carnival territory now, so it's going to get a lot more exciting, and we're just trying to build up some confidence and make a sort of note of the horses that are going around, build up some information. Let's see. Good luck to you. I'll be watching. Great weekend ahead. Boom, boom, let's go.
Getting tired, and here came Sweet Liaison to take.
Done our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.